A machine of our century travels back in time to confront an army from a different era. On one side, there is faith, steel, and muscle. On the other, heat, chemistry, and physics. If the battlefield is the courtroom of history, who will survive the verdict?
To answer fairly, we need a contract. On one side, 10,000 medieval soldiers, a mix of 13th, 15th century European styles, long pikes, heavy and light cavalry, longbows and crossbows, armored knights in chainmail or plate armor, engineers with axes, pitch, carts, and ropes. No gunpowder, but there is oil, pitch, fire, and siege tactics. The terrain is open, near a market town, gently rolling grassland, low fences, shallow ditches. On the other side, a modern main battle tank, crewed by 4 people. Imagine a heavy tank from the end of the Cold War, about 60 to 70 tons, turbine or diesel engine, composite armor, stabilized 120mm smoothbore cannon, coaxial machine gun, heavy machine gun on the roof, thermal sights, laser rangefinder, smoke launcher. The tank arrives fully fueled and with a combat load, about 40 main rounds, a mix of HE, HEAT, and canister rounds, along with thousands of 7.62mm and 50 caliber rounds. No resupply, no mechanics, no air support. A match in a sealed bottle.
We will compare capabilities, consequences, and chains of reactions, and then test through various stages of combat. Because history does not just keep score, it explains why the numbers matter.
Modern tanks are not large horse-drawn carriages with cannons. They are mobile fortresses integrated with fire control computers. 3 core advantages. First, protection. Its frontal armor is designed to withstand long rod penetrators and shaped charges, threats traveling at 1.5 to...
Second, perception. The thermal imager detects thermal signals through smoke and morning mist. A person in chainmail shines like a beacon. The vehicle measures distance with a laser and stabilizes the cannon while moving. Where a knight needs clear skies and a steady hand, a tank only requires visibility.
Tuesday, damage. The 120mm cannon fires explosive shells that roar like thunder, tearing apart formations within dozens of meters. The canister turns the cannon into a giant hunting rifle. Tungsten pellets sweep away entire lines of troops. The coaxial 7.62 cuts down infantry. The 50 takes down cavalry, breaks shields, and even brings down wooden gates. All of this is calculated by a computer in just a few seconds.
History suggests scale. At Omdurman, 1898, modern forces with machine guns and artillery cut down tens of thousands armed with spears and outdated firearms. Prior to that, the Maxim gun had already annihilated the charges that centuries of bravery had once determined. A tank condensed that overwhelming logic into a running steel knot. But physics is not poetry. It has edges: fuel, ammunition, mobility, the endurance of the vehicle. 10,000 bodies are not just targets. They can change the terrain, create obstacles, sow chaos. This is a race. Can the vehicle move and destroy faster than the army that binds it? The tank emerged, the engine roaring loudly. The infantry was thrown into disarray, coming to a halt. A captain raised his sword. Upon seeing it, the entire army beheld a monstrous creature. The cavalry urged their horses forward, flags billowing in the wind. The cannon was lowered. Shock turns into collapse. The human mind has its limits. Medieval soldiers knew fear, spears, fire, thunder. But this is something else. A moving volcano that ignores all arrows and responds with a storm. Thousands will break formation.
Thousands more, driven by orders, faith, or inertia, will continue to advance.
At this moment, the numbers begin to crush. With 40 main artillery pieces, you eliminate 40 knots, concentration points, rallying points, cavalry wedges, spearheads. The machine guns take care of the rest, but they consume time and heat up quickly. The crew must hold the canister like water in the desert. To destroy the fortress, confine it. The army stops slashing at the dragon. They try to pin it down. A trench appears. The spikes and earth embankments grow larger before the vehicle's nose. 10 men cannot pull 65 tons with a single rope. But the rope wrapped around the wheel bears the load. Wood stuck under the tracks, mud in the low ditch. The vehicle crew understands. They choose a solid ground, avoid low-lying areas, charge straight at obstacles with speed, using weight, the iron blade on the track. The vehicle is designed to cross ditches, crush smaller vehicles, tow trucks, broken ladders. But each impact carries the risk of losing tracks, rollers flying off, and armor skirts getting dented. Absolutely no engine failure is allowed in the midst of the crowd.
Jet of pitch exploded on the engine's roof. Firefighting foam sprayed everywhere. Another jet exploded on the viewing slit, blackening it. The commander quickly wiped it off and retreated under the smokescreen. The medieval armor couldn't be penetrated, but it could be disrupted, blurring the sight, reducing visibility, forcing the vehicle to make difficult decisions. 2 hours pass. The field becomes a geometric map of trauma. Where the vehicles pass, people fall. Where the vehicles have not yet arrived, the commander restores discipline. Imagine the speed of destruction. The main artillery can take down 30, 40 crowds, each time hundreds. Machine guns, thousands more. At this moment, the medieval general understood time is an ally. He ordered the troops to dig a crescent-shaped trench, rotated the new units to maintain pressure, deployed a suicide squad to throw ropes, wood, and burning vehicles. He turned the battlefield into a puzzle, not a duel. The vehicle must break the cycle. One option, rush through a narrow gap, then loop back, plowing through the enemy like a plow turning the soil. Or lean against a stone wall or bridge with the back against an obstacle to prevent anyone from encircling. The crew chose the second option, geometry as a form of armor. The tank leaned against the low stone wall, bracing against the storm of people. The coaxial fired sharply, the .5 caliber roared, smoke billowed, and then a final canister sliced through the tip of the spear. Silence. Then the screams rose again. And here it is, the moment when the ammunition becomes fate. If there are enough canisters, the vehicle can maintain the buffer zone. No one survives within 200 meters. If not, the buffer zone shrinks. The medieval soldiers pushed a shield wall placed on the cart, a mobile barrier. Behind them, the ladder and hook bearers followed. A group rushed to the left flank. .50 caliber rounds tore through them, but others filled the gaps. The crew fired the penultimate round, HE, into the densest area. The explosion tore a hole in the world. They kept coming. With the last canister, the vehicle redraws the map once more. The crew disembarks. The buffer zone expands. They breathe a sigh of relief. But the brutal count remains. Main artillery, 0. Machine guns, running low. The vehicle is still armored and powered, still a devastating war machine, but the venom has run out. If the battlefield is still empty, morale may break one last time. The crew, after horrific losses, may flee. At that moment, the vehicle survives. Hollow, hot, deaf, but alive.
However, if the enemy's nerves remain steady and the ground is sufficiently torn up, the tank will inevitably lose its mobility. Tracks will break and it will get stuck. Once immobilized, it becomes a steel hill. The attack from above, through the hatch, into the exhaust, beneath the armor, becomes feasible with hooks, wedges, fire, and a sea of people. Nevertheless, the crew still has options: sealing up, sweeping coaxially, rotating the turret to crush enemies against the ground. Yet history teaches a brutal lesson. A tank that stands still, alone, is still just a mortal.
This is not just a weapon, it is a system. The tank is the tip of the iceberg. Fuel trucks, spare parts, crew rotations, maintenance hours. Separate it from the ecosystem and it becomes a finite magic. Impressive, but depleting.
Dual psychology. Shock and fear lean towards the vehicle in the first hour. But humans know how to normalize fear. Roman soldiers stood before war elephants. Samurai faced firearms with tactics and armor. In World War, machine gun nests shredded every line, until artillery, smoke, and infiltration changed the rules of the game. 10,000 minds will seek meaning amid chaos, some seeking to escape, others seeking duty. The echoes of history guide the way. In Somme, the crown encounters machinery and bleeds. At Kursk, armored vehicles meet mines, trenches, and anti-tank artillery. The death rate in the thicket is staggering. The medieval troops lack hollow-point ammunition and powerful explosives, true, but they possess the oldest weapon, the terrain, shaped by hand. A mile of trenches is a series of artillery etched into the ground.
So, can a modern tank defeat 10,000 medieval soldiers? Mixed terrain, disciplined command, aggressive obstacles. The tank dominates tactically, but time betrays. As ammunition runs low and the ground is filled with trenches, the buffer zone narrows. Loss of mobility, broken tracks, getting stuck becomes possible. Fixed in place, the crew can still kill hundreds as on the Steel Hill, but ultimately the numbers plus fire plus gravity threaten the tank's cover. The tank is hard to kill amidst a circle of ruins, but it can still die.
The field after the battle, trampled grass, broken spears, heat rising from the silent machine. In the distance, the church bells, the wind rustling the tarpaulin.
This thought experiment is not meant to encourage brutality. It seeks clarity. It reminds us that power lies not only in courage, nor solely in machinery, but in the alignment of tools, people, and the land. It is also humble. Today's miracle is tomorrow's antique. Placing tanks within the ecosystem, fuel, spare parts, drones, satellites, they can shape a continent. Strip it down to just a trigger, a field, and even the giant must negotiate with mud, smoke, and humanity. Technology tilts the balance. Logistics and terrain determine the game. Can a modern tank defeat 10,000 medieval soldiers? Often, yes. Always, no. The difference is not written in a single steel, but in maps, moments, and minds.
If you want to add more cinematic if-then scenarios, please subscribe, share, and suggest the battlefield where history and physics should collide next.